Hello everyone and welcome to my preview of New Japan Pro Wrestling's Power Struggle in Osaka show, as it is the very next day here as we're recording this. I waited till like the last minute. You never know with New Japan, so I'm gonna get fucking hurt. They could change it up, but so far everything is good to go. And it's looking like the card is obviously going to be complete, as it's a 9-match card. How about that? New Japan changing it up. Going with a 9-match card now. Breaking tradition. I love it. As, really it's 8 competitive matches though, because obviously the opener, which we'll talk about here, as Yohei, Oiwa, and Kosei Fujita take on Suzuki-gun of Yoshinobu Kanemaru and Doki. Obviously, Young Lion match, as you know who's taking a fall there. But so far, it's still a little early about judging how far these two men will go. But I do like Kosei Fujita. I think more than... Well, obviously it's very hard to tell. It's very limited, but I think I would have to give him the slight edge as of right now. But it's still, again, it's still very, very early. We probably won't really know until about 6 months into the Young Lion phase. That's when they start starting to break around a little bit, at least start getting a little bit more action going and a little bit more offense in. Usually around that point is when you can start really having a better idea of where they will go. Obviously, as far as Young Lions have gone recently, it's really them coming back from excursions been a bit of a roll of the dice. I thought Kawada was going to be the man, and he has not been. He has... the Masawato stuff has been pretty bleak compared to where he was. I think he was more popular and more over with the crowd pre-excursion than he is now. And then you got Great O'Connor, which, when in his Young Lion phase, I was someone that was like, he might be okay, he might be a good never guy, we'll have to kind of wait and see. And sure, his gimmick is very silly and very cartoonish, which I think a lot of these gimmicks have been as of late, as far as for the excursion guys coming back. But the guy can fucking go. The guy is very, very talented, and he can definitely, as far as just his talent alone, even with a shitty gimmick, he'll be able to make it work off his talent. But, it's going to be interesting with these two to see where they'll go. Obviously, Kosei Fujita, when you got the last name Fujita, there is a bit of a standard there. You got Kazuchika Fujita waiting in as far as where you're going to be. Obviously, two completely different people. Like Kazuchika Fujita, an absolute savage of man, a guy who fought in pride like a warrior. That's not like we're going to compare the two ever. They're literally 30 years apart are the two men. And obviously, I think Fujita kind of be more on the smaller side of things as far as weight-wise. So it's not even going to be close from that regard. But it will be a talking point for the traditional Japanese pro wrestling fans. I guess the new fans. Even then, I don't think the new fans are really giving a shit about Kazuchika Fujita, sadly. But I don't know. Let's go into the next match, as it's a 6th man of Tiger Mask and Makabe and Hanma. Bullet Club of Tonga Loa and Jado and Geto. Oh boy, yeah, this undercard, not great. Obviously, this match is kind of like a prelude to the tag league that's coming up. Obviously, GBH being previous winners 5-6 years ago. And then we have, obviously, GOD having them, finally getting their World Tag League win in 2020. As, that's also, securing their also first Wrestle Kingdom win after winning the World Tag League. And obviously, then just... it hasn't really been the same for those two as far as tag-wise, just because this tag division has been god-awful. But, Tonga Loa, his G1 run compared to Tama. Obviously, Tama's in the co-main and in a much bigger spot. But Tonga's G1, not so great. Obviously, Tama a little bit, more over, I think, with the fans. Obviously, a little bit more well-known because of his longer stint in New Japan compared to Tonga Loa's, but, as far as in Tama's, I think, another guy that had the potential there for a long time, there when he kind of first started, and after the CMLL excursion. I was like, oh, this guy, he's got a flash of some good stuff. Maybe he can put it all together. Kind of worked. I figured he'd be someone that would be in like the never openweight division there for a while, but it just never really just became the tag team division for those two. And this match here, really the best guy in the match is Togi Makabe. Obviously, he's the fucking man. But this is just it's a goddamn shame as far as who is in this ring in this match. Very much a skippable match if you're a newer fan. Even as an experienced fan, you probably shouldn't be watching this match here. But, that's not great. Who's going to win it? You really could go either way. As far as Makabe Hanma could beat either Jado Getter or even Tiger Mask. I feel like Jado and Getter are going to take the fall in some way. Probably should. But they might give Tonga Loa a win because, he was the only guy that was in the G1 in this match. And they could kind of book him a little strong. It could go either way, really, there. But I would assume it should be Togi Makabe getting the win just because let's give the old guard something. It's the undercard. Who fucking cares? As the next match, another 6-man, and another match with a 20-minute time limit, as the team of Yuji Nagata with Ryusuke Taguchi and Master Wato against Los Ingobernables de Japón of Sanada Hiromu Bushi. Obviously, that team should win. Obviously, it is fun to see Yuji Nagata and Sanada in the same ring. That's always fun. And then Hiromu and Taguchi, even though Taguchi's now definitely out of his prime, but it should be at least something there. It's a fun match on paper. Obviously, it's an undercard match. There's nothing's going to be too crazy, especially with the 20-minute time limit. There's not going to be anything great. But in the crowd, again, obviously New Japan crowds and just Japanese press crowds as a whole are very limited with their crowd noise. I believe something passed over in Japan this week where they're allowing more people into the stadiums. I think 15,000 is now the limit, which is exciting. So it's coming back, slowly but surely, which is great. And hopefully 2022 will be the year that Japanese pro wrestling will be back to normal. As for this match, I'm always a fan of the established team getting the win over a team that's kind of thrown together as far as, obviously Nagata with Taguchi and Wato. Obviously, Taguchi and Wato, the more established team, but even then, you got Hiromu and Bushi as the more established junior team. That could go really only one way it should go, and that's an LIJ win. And, Sanada was someone that I figured could have a nice G1, but really, he kind of was just flat. I felt like a lot of that G1, he was very much overshadowed by a lot of people. Not a great sign for Saya Sanada, but he has got to get on the right track again, and hopefully something can happen in the following year. He could really just use a win. Like, he just needs a big win as far as like a tournament or something. That New Japan Cup is right there for him if they want to give him a win. Because he's just kind of the talent that's in New Japan right now. There's so many established guys, but there's so many guys that are just right outside the reach. And they'll never be that guy. And sometimes you just got to give them a win to make them at least feel like they're that guy. Happened with Zack Sabre Jr. Him winning the Cup. I think that was great, and that really elevated him during those years. And he cooled off a little bit, but now with this G1, had a great G1, and he got back, and he got hot again. They did the thing with Cobb this year with the G1. They, when him, made him go on an undefeated streak. I thought he probably could have beat, Okada, obviously, but obviously, Okada, it was down to being in the finals, and obviously, Jeff Cobb wasn't going to win that. They weren't going to go that crazy and give him the mega push, but Sanada is someone that in 2022 definitely could see him winning the Cup or just something, because he's been in the finals of both the Cup. Actually, I don't think he's been in the finals of the Cup. I thought him and Okada was. Now off the top of my head, I'm thinking he wasn't. I think it was he lost to Zack in the semifinals of the year Zack won. That might be what I'm thinking of, because obviously he was in the finals with Ibushi, which, that match too, that was kind of the start of the G1 finals matches not being so great. Obviously this year's is a little bit of a muck because of the Ibushi injury, but even then, I don't think that match had the expectations, even though they've had great matches in the past. It's just, this is the fourth fucking time we've seen it. There's only so much you can do. But Sanada here, in 2022 is someone that they could definitely use to elevate in getting a win like the New Japan Cup. Because the G1's just too big. They shouldn't. Sonata, God bless him, he's the man. But if you're going to have him win the G1, he's going to have to, actually be the man type of deal and have him go on and actually, win a belt at a Wrestle Kingdom if you're going to go that route. I don't see that happening, obviously, because, there's just guys that will never get that push because of where they came from. Sonata's one, Ishii's one, as far as they'll never become the guy because of where they started. Ishii, obviously, he's been in New Japan over a decade now, but he'll always kind of be, for the office at least, a Riki Choshu product and a Riki Choshu guy, and not a New Japan, guy was a young lion, became, and it went through the whole phase. Same thing with Sonata, he'll kind of always be an All Japan, Wrestle One guy, and, New Japan is very big on loyalty. It's very big on how long you've been here, and if you are staying here type of deal. That's why GOD got the nod for the G1 and not other people. That's just... And Suzuki, too. Minoru Suzuki will probably never be IWGP champion. Now, because of his age, but definitely, even when he was not of age, and he was still one of the top guys in the world, which he still is, don't get me wrong, but, still, when he's legit, top 5, top 10 guy in the world in the mid-2010s, they didn't even, do it there because he was not a New Japan guy, and they were establishing that early on, and you can just tell. You can just kind of tell by the way they book. You're just looking at their heavyweight champions of the past decade. You'll kind of see a trend, and you'll see why that trend is happening. And, it's just really the last, non-New Japan guy, which even then he was a New Japan guy at one point, but he's kind of more, I think, established as All Japan guy for when he left. But Satoshi Kojima, that's really the last guy that came from somewhere else and was the heavyweight champion. Because even Jay White, Young Lion, and obviously Naito and Tanahashi and Okada, they've all were Young Lions at that point, and Nakamura, obviously. It just it kind of goes on and on with that lineage. AJ Styles was actually the only guy. Now I'm thinking about it, AJ. But he was the top guy Jin at the time, so then he has that rep as well. And, usually if you're a top guy Jin, at least you have a better chance than being someone like Sonata or Ishii where you're awesome, but there's just other more established, higher level guys than you. So it's just kind of in a tough boat there. So I think I've kind of talked about that enough. We can go on to the next match, which is the Never Openweight 6-man tag team title matchup of the champions, Hiroki Goto, Tomohiro Ishii, and Yoshihashi against Torture Club, or House of Torture, rather, Jesus Christ. House of Torture, Evil, Yujiro, and Sho. I think a title change is happening here. I just feel like they need to do something with House of Torture, at least give them a viable threat, that they are a threat, and it just kind of makes sense. As far as, really, Goto and Ishii should go on to win this tag league and become tag champs. That would be the best way of going about it. And having them... But I know they'll have either Goto and Yoshihashi and then Ishii Yano as the teams instead. But that's what they should go for. As if you're a fan of the TW series I'm doing with New Japan, you'll understand why. And, Evil, Sho, and Yujiro. I'm sure Evil and maybe Yujiro, maybe even Sho will be a team in the tag league. So you have that as well, as far as building going forward with this. But it just seems like they'll give it to House of Torture there. I'm surprised that has a 60-minute time limit. That's hilarious. Obviously, it's not going to go that far. But, that's pretty much that much. Nothing too crazy there. As the fifth match on this card, and it's under amateur wrestling rules, as it's the King of Pro Wrestling 2021 title, trophy, rather, would make more sense here. As Toru Yano against Great-O-Khan. And it's obviously amateur wrestling. It's going to be 3 rounds, I believe. It's going to be 2 3-minute periods is what it is. And obviously amateur wrestling rules. Interesting, because Yano suggested this, and then Great-O-Khan wanted a kiss my feet stipulation, which I'm sure all the foot chants were very disappointed in that. Which I'm very happy that is not the stipulation here. At least amateur wrestling, it's a little different. I don't know if they're trying to kind of piggyback off the success of the grappling match that happened with Shibata and Zack Sabre Jr. Because, like, Great Khan, very, very talented amateur wrestler, obviously. Toru Yano, pretty good. You know, not terrible. And I think it's going to be fun to see him kind of out of his element and out of a comedy shtick. I'm actually intrigued by this. You know, it's probably going to be dumb because it is going to be like an amateur wrestling match. But if it was kind of more... If it wasn't amateur wrestling and more of like a grappling match, like, you know, just a UWF High Rules match, then yeah, that would be way better than this, and I think I'd be even more intrigued. But at least I'm intrigued by just to see how Yano would do. Great Khan should win this, but, you know, this is Yano's belt. This is Yano's division, if you want to call it a division. This is his deal, and, you know, I just see him getting the win there, but I would be very much... I mean, it'd be funny to see that Great Khan's, like, first, like, title is the King of Pro Wrestling trophy, for whatever that's worth, in New Japan, but I just feel like, you know, Toru Yano, this is his division, he'll get the win there. Either way, I'm fine with it, because it's the King of Pro Wrestling trophy, it's not that big of a deal. But they're 1-1, though. Obviously, Yano won in March, during the New Japan Cup, and Great Khan just won, and the G1. I can never not knock, you know, a trilogy, just that simple booking, and that's a really good booking in many cases, unless it's a little too much when you're doing too many trilogies on a card. Not the best ideal, but speaking of a trilogy, you know, we got another one here, as it's the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title match, Robbie Eagles versus El Desperado, as Robbie Eagles looking to defend his belt, as obviously, you know, he was the one who beat Despy for the belt back at Wrestle Grand Slam in the Tokyo Dome. As it's crazy that, you know, Robbie Eagles successfully defending it against Hiromu at the MetLife Dome, which it is kind of, you know, crazy in itself that he won that. And I was hoping that Hiromu, after that, either lost. Yeah, I figured he'd actually win that, to be honest. It was crazy that he won. Fair fucks to Robbie Eagles there. And that's actually a good booking to at least try to elevate him there and get a huge win. As for this rematch, though, it could really go either way. You know, I just feel like this could go... And on the 26th, they even had a junior tag match for the junior heavyweight tag team titles. It was, you know, Kanemaru and Despy against Robbie Eagles and Tiger Mask, as a Flying Tigers, they're called. Which, God, I love the creativity there, but... That, I did not think they were going to win that match, and they ended up winning that too. So, I mean, just kind of Robbie Eagles has really been surprising me of how well they've booked him, and how many wins he's gotten over these past couple of months. You know, and it's, you know, he is the first ever Australian champion in New Japan too, which is just kind of cool as far as that perspective. But he is only that, and he's also the fifth, like, double champ as far as, you know, having the junior heavyweight title and then another belt. Most of the times it's the junior tag belt, but it's pretty nuts, you know. And you think about the history of, like, Japanese pro wrestling, the history of New Japan, and how they've booked, you know, juniors now for the past almost 40 years, and it's just crazy. But Despy probably is going to get the win back here, and just would make too much sense. I feel like they're going to do either him and Hiromu at Wrestle Kingdom, or either something along those lines. Is somewhere Hiromu's going to get the win for that junior heavyweight title. It just seems like they can never elevate juniors to when they need to elevate juniors, especially someone like Hiromu, who's the goddamn man. But, you know, their first encounter was, it was pretty good. It wasn't great or anything like that. I don't think it's going to be great here, but who knows? Maybe I'm doubting Robbie Eagles and El Desperado here. But again, you know, trilogy, can't go wrong with that. As for the next matchup, is for the IWGP US Heavyweight title, as it is Hiroshi Tanahashi, the champion, looking to defend this belt against Kenta, as this is a rematch from last year, where last year Power Struggle, Kenta beating Hiroshi Tanahashi to retain his rights to challenge for that US title. They are 2-1, as Kenta has the lead in their rivalry so far. As, you know, Kenta, you know, seems to be, you know, it's interesting because, like, Chase Owens has allowed Kenta this first shot here. I don't know if there's going to be some shenanigans there, or as Chase is going to kind of cost Kenta the match here, which you know, I hate Chase Owens. I hate that he's involved in this company just because he's a piece of shit. But, you know, this match should be fine. Obviously, these two have had their bouts in the past. And really, you know, Kenta is someone that I would love to see him get the belt. Any belt, really, in New Japan. Just don't think it's going to happen. You know, I just don't think Tanahashi is going to drop the belt until, like, Wrestle Kingdom. Just don't see it. So, don't think he's going to beat Kenta here. Or don't think he's going to lose to Kenta here, rather. But especially because Kenta beat him last year at Power Struggle, so it just kind of be weird to do another Power Struggle to where Kenta beats him. But yeah, that's interesting. It's just kind of in a weird spot where it's not the co-main or anything like that. It's kind of smack right there, kind of in the right before the co-main. And I mean, that co-main is Okada and Tama Tonga, so it's not like it can't. It's not going to be one of, if not, could be the second best match on the show. It really depends on the junior title match. I would say it's probably going to be the second best match on the card. But you never know, though. Kazuchika Okada can pull out some great matches out of people that you don't really expect to have great matches from. So you do have that. But speaking of that, we'll just go on to the co-main now. This is Kazuchika Okada taking on Tama Tonga for the briefcase, which is, of course, the old IWGP Heavyweight title. As Kazuchika Okada, kind of shockingly, lost to Tama, which, shocked the world, I would say, as he was the only guy to beat him, too, so that is fun there. Obviously, Tama's not winning this one. This is pretty much a foregone conclusion, but this is, a lot of people are kind of, like, confused, I think, just from seeing, or maybe not confusion, just kind of like why are they doing this, as far as replacing the briefcase with the fourth generation heavyweight title. It just seems pretty clear what they're doing, so I don't kind of understand the kind of sighing and kind of just more sighing and just going like, why are they doing this? Why are they, making it so convoluted? When I don't think it's really that convoluted. I guess that's just me. But, yeah, I mean, Okada's winning this one. It's no brainer there. It's a layup. I would hope that it'd be a good match. Obviously, it's Kazuchika Okada, the match. Like, I don't think you'd have a bad match if you tried. Though, I mean, those Yujiro matches were pretty bad. Those Yujiro singles matches. But if Okada's got his working boots on, he gives it 110%, maybe. But again, a lot of that, a crowd has to play into a factor a lot of times when it's a match like this where it's so one-sided, where 1000% this person's going to win. It's kind of tough to buy into. And obviously with crowds not being able to really go full tilt still, it's going to be tough. Going to be a tough one. Well, the main event in another trilogy, as it is for the IWGP World Heavyweight title. It's Shingo Takagi, the champion, looking to defend his belt against Zack Sabre Jr. Obviously, Zack having a great match with Shingo in the G1 and beating him, having the upset, brings us to this match here. It's crazy. During the G1 preview episode, I thought that they never had a singles match against each other, but I was wrong, as it was in WXW they had a singles match, which is pretty crazy. That was in 2009, too, so it was probably an awesome match. But, that is just kind of crazy. They went so long without a singles match. It's obviously, for a lot of it, they were just in different promotions, but just for as far as how, Shingo's been in New Japan for a good little while now. But, really, Zack is someone that I was so happy to see back into the main event picture for New Japan. And obviously he's not going to win this match, because obviously they're not going to have him be the champion going into Wrestle Kingdom. But, and that's the kind of the tough part about this part of the schedule. Because like 9 times out of 10, they're not dropping the belt. You just know it. Because that guy is going on to become, to either drop the belt at Wrestle Kingdom or to continue the reign past Wrestle Kingdom in some cases. Really rarely does a champion drop the belt here after losing in the G1 to someone. Very, very rare. And, that's something that I would love to see play into a factor in the future, especially the near future, just as far as something different. But, I just don't see Shingo dropping the belt into Wrestle Kingdom, whichever night it is. Probably the third night, but maybe even walks out of all three of those nights as still the IWGP Heavyweight Champion. It just seems like Shingo is on a tear, as he definitely has been incredible for how well he's been having matches with people, and also how well they booked him as well. It plays a lot of a big factor into it. I just wish they would have had a non-COVID environment. If they would have had a regular environment to see Shingo being the man in front of all those goddamn people, especially like in the Tokyo Dome shows, and it would have been awesome. Would have been awesome, especially like the Jeff Cobb match during Wrestle Kingdom. That fucking match was insane, and would have died to see a full G1, or not full G1, a full Wrestle Kingdom crowd for that match. They would have been losing their minds. But this is power struggles are tough because I would love to kind of sway people to be like, oh, these are going to be great matches and whatnot. It's tough to put the genie back in the bottle. Is kind of how I've tried to explain, involving power struggle, because the G1 is such a magical time, because there's just upsets and there's craziness. Sometimes I feel like this G1, it kind of went a little too crazy as far as the upsets went, but like Zack beating Shingo was awesome, made sense. I think the right guy won, and just was like, it was a perfect first loss for Shingo in a singles match. That moment of Zack beating him is great, but now to redo that, and luckily it's been a couple of months, but it's still relatively fresh, to kind of get that energy back into these rematches. It's always very tough on the guys, but they should be good matches. Not like they're going to be bad, but it's just tough to be at that level of the G1 matches when it's, especially in that case where they've never had a singles match in 11 years, but now we've seen it, and now they got to play up on it, and obviously their styles mesh very well, which was fun to see. I was a little nervous about that. It was just they're two completely different guys, but it worked really well, and it's right for Shingo to get a win too, obviously, because he's Shingo Takagi. He's been the man for a long time. But that will do it for my preview of Power Struggle happening on November 6th, as it is what's going on within the States. Obviously, the Battle in the Valley, kind of the big show that's happening in San Jose. I guess big show, quote unquote. There is a Never Openweight title match with Jay White and Ishii, which should be very, very good. But that rest of the card, not looking great. That's very much a one-match show, and that's, not great. But then you have, I hate that they're doing this, again, the unification of both Tag League and Best Super Juniors. For some, it's a good idea, because at least it makes the Tag League matches not so shit, because at least they're throwing Best Super Junior stuff in there too. But as someone who loves the Best Super Juniors and wants those guys to have that moment in the spotlight in main eventing shows, it pains me, but I get it. But that'll probably be the next thing we preview, and we'll probably do maybe a review of this Power Struggle show. Not really sure, up in the air, because part of me is like, is it really going to be that great? And on the other hand, I haven't done a review in a long time. It's been a long time since it's happened, but now that I'm in a place where I can record a lot more frequently now, compared to in the year or so past now that it's been, it would be nice to get back in the swing of things here. So maybe not. Look out for a Power Struggle review. Who knows? As I will catch you guys next time, though, whenever we're talking about New Japan. Take